Okay, here I am back again. This is Brandy Horn, Instruction and Reference Librarian at the Greg Graniteville Library, for video 3 of this research process tutorial. In the first video, we talked about the worksheet, and I've got that pulled up here for us to use as a reference. The second video, we talked about searching the catalog, and also as part of that, how to log into the library's resources from off campus. So if you have a question about that, go to the video about searching the catalog. Now we're talking about searching library databases. The screencasting tool that I'm using limits me to 15 minutes. So I'm going to see how much I can get done in this 15 minutes. Again, I've got the worksheet here on the left to use as a guide, and on the right hand side we've got the library's homepage as your starting point. So again, starting at the library's homepage, in the center search box defaults to books and media, which is how you search the library's catalog. There is a databases tab, and if you click on that you'll get a drop-down menu with a list of all 300 plus databases that we have access to, but most of them are very subject specific. So unless you know exactly which ones that would be useful to you for literary criticism research, that's not the best place to start. So what we have instead is a research guides tab, and when you click that, you get a drop-down menu with an alphabetical listing of all of guides that we've created according to subject, right? And each subject guide contains resources specific to that subject. This is an alphabetical listing, so if you scroll down, you'll see one that actually says literary criticism. So for this class, for this assignment, the literary criticism guide is the one that you want. So we'll click that and click go. Once you get into the literary criticism guide, you'll notice that there are some tabs across the top. The one that you want to click on is Find Articles, and what you will find on that page is a list of databases where it would be appropriate to do research when you're looking for things like literary criticism. Some of these are literary criticism specific, like MLA International Bibliography, Literary Reference Center, Literary Criticism Online. Okay, but then you have things like JSTOR, Project Muse, Academic Search Premier, that either cover all subject areas, or like Project Muse kind of focuses on humanities. But any of the databases in this list you could use for literary criticism research. Obviously, if you're not researching Shakespeare, don't use Understanding Shakespeare, but otherwise, you know, you can explore the various databases. I'm going to show you as much as I can in the 15 minutes, but I'm going to start with MLA International Bibliography because this should look familiar to you. This is a database created or that we get from EBSCO, right? So it has the same interface as Academic Search Premier. And part of the reason I want to show this to you is that you should be comfortable with Academic Search Premier, so you should be comfortable with this database. It's also a good place to demonstrate how to combine different search terms, but there's also a neat feature to this that I'm going to show you in a little bit. But referring back to our worksheet, remember I said, like, when you do your first search, it's a good idea to just start with author. And when you're in the databases, you don't necessarily have to do last name, comma, first name. So I'm just going to do Tim O'Brien. Right, and notice there are some autofill options. I'm just going to stick with my author name for right now, and I'm going to click search. So when I search for Tim O'Brien, I get 269 results. Okay, as I go through, we'll see that we have a lot of things here that are not in full text, and we also have things here that say books, right? Chances are, if you have things like books, it's talking about a specific chapter within that book. You're not going to be able to access it within this database. So what you can do to do away with that, on the left hand side under Refine Results, because I think you're limited to peer-reviewed results anyway, under Refine you can click the Scholarly Peer-Reviewed Journals option, and that takes away those things like book chapters. Okay. Now we still have these items that are not full text in this database, and we can tell because it has a full text finder button. There is the option to link full text on the left. That will take out everything that's not full text in this database, and you'll just get the ones with the PDFs. I do not recommend limiting to full text. The reason for that is this is MLA International Bibliography. It does not guarantee full text to you. It just allows you to see what kinds of articles are out there. If you need to find the full text of something, you can click this full text finder button, And that will tell you whether or not an article is full text in one of our other databases. In the case of that article, that is available through Project Muse. We click the link that it provides and it should take us directly to the article. Okay. Right, so we see that we have the PDF up here that we can access, and then we have the HTML full text within the item record. Okay, so again, do not limit to full text. If you check a lot of these full text finder buttons and none of them lead you out, then maybe go ahead and limit to full text. But you'll notice that a lot of these are leading you out to other databases. This is an instance where it's not leading us anywhere, so we just move on. Okay, so I would limit to scholarly peer reviewed, but I would not limit to full text. Now, we have 119, which is a lot, right? So if we wanted to limit it further, we could go ahead and we could do a second search with author and title. So author in the first search box, title in the second search box. And now we're focusing on articles that talk about that particular work. Okay, it still has us limited to peer reviewed, so 48. I would probably go through 48 results. Okay, but if you wanted to limit it further, or if you had a lot more results than that, if you wanted to focus on something specific like Vietnam, right, we could type that into the third search box. So author, title, and then either element, you could consider that an element, or time period, world event. Okay, and then now we're down to 28, which I think is a manageable number of results. Now, if you come across something that looks like it could potentially be useful to you, if it's full text in this database, even if it's not full text in this database, you can still email from here. But if it's full text in this database, you click on the title. You can read the abstract. That's going to be a summary or overview of the article. Right? So if the title looks good, the abstract looks good, on the right hand side under tools, you can email that article to yourself. And since it's full text in this database, the PDF of the article will be attached to the email that you send to yourself. Okay. Anything that looks like it could potentially be useful, send it to yourself. If you need 3 articles, find 5 or 6 or 7. Okay. Anything that looks like it could potentially be useful. Now, while we're in this item record, I'm going to show you a couple things. When you're citing an MLA, you will either need a DOI, a digital object identifier, as part of your citation, or you will need a stable URL. When you're in the item record, you can scroll down past the abstract. If there is a DOI, it will be located down here. In this case, there is a DOI. If you need a stable URL instead, if there is no DOI, under Tools, you do have the option to click Permalink, and it gives you a URL with the easy proxy in front so that people can click on it, your professor can click on it, and then proxy in. They can log in and access this. Okay, so DOI at the bottom under the abstract, or the permalink button on the right under Tools to get your stable URL. Another thing to point out, the Cite button, it does have MLA, but this is very much a buyer beware sort of situation in that you are expected to produce correct citations, and these often have errors. The one error I can guarantee you that every generated citation will contain is right here. For the database name, it says EBSCOhost. That is incorrect. You will never have a database name that is just EBSCOhost. We are in, currently, MLA International Bibliography, and we know that because it says that. EBSCO is the vendor from which we purchase that. Okay? The reason this is important is because if you click Choose Databases, you'll see that we get like 30 or 40 databases, maybe even more than that, from EBSCO. So if you just say EBSCO, we don't know which one you got it from. Okay? You have to say MLA International Bibliography. Now, I'm going to click right here, Academic Search Premier, and click Go. So now I'm searching MLA International Bibliography and Academic Search Premier. Okay, so if I enter my search terms in, and I'm searching across both of these databases, I limit to peer-reviewed. I have 43, whereas my previous results list was in the 20s. So because I'm searching across both databases, I'm getting more results. Okay, so that's important when you're talking about your citations and you're identifying the database that you're in, right? Because now you're searching across both, it's not necessarily clear which database you're in. So when you're looking at a particular article and you scroll down to the bottom to see if there's a DOI, which in this case there isn't one, you will also see that there is a thing telling you which database you're in so that you know which one to credit in your citation. Okay, so as you go through, when you're searching, start with author, then do author and title, then do author, title, and theme. Okay, we can do a new search. We could do Tim O'Brien, right? And instead of focusing on the specific work, maybe we do Tim O'Brien and Vietnam War and see what's there, right? So we have 157 on the left. We want to limit to peer-reviewed. Now we're down to 76. And we can go through and begin seeing what kinds of things we have here. Okay. I'm trying to think if I'm missing anything. I don't think so. If you come across something that's not full text in this database, try the second one. Okay. Oh, no. Okay, so there are some, you might come across some weird things. And I apologize for the weirdness that you may come across, especially right now in our global weirdness. Some things may just not be accessible. Okay, so if it leads you out to another database and you want to email the article to yourself, in this case, you can enter your email address here where this article is. But not every database that it leads you out to will have an easy option for emailing to yourself. So just email to yourself. Hold on. So whichever one you're looking at, you can just email yourself from this database. The full text will not be attached, but it will lead you back to the sign-up record, and then you can click the full text finder button that will take you to the article. Oh, and that's Roy Seeger. That's our professor at USC-Aiken. So that's handy. I did not plan this. So even if it's not full text in this database, you can still email the item record to yourself from this database. And then when you get here, click the full text finder button to lead you to the article. Your other option is to just download the article, the PDF, save it to your computer, and then have it that way. Okay. So that's MLA International Bibliography, Academic Search Premier. I only have a minute and a half left. Let me show you JSTOR very quickly because it's a little weird. JSTOR starts you with a single search box. You want to click Advanced Search, and then you have the multiple search boxes. You can add search boxes if you need to, but when you're dealing with JSTOR, anything that you have in a search box that has more than one word, put quotation marks around it. Okay, otherwise it'll try to search them as separate words. And then you want to limit to articles and go ahead and limit it to English and then search. Okay, so that's 132. If you want to get more specific, you can add like your element or theme or something like Vietnam here to limit further. But as you go through, everything in JSTOR is peer-reviewed, so you don't have to limit that way. You cannot email from here very easily, so you can download PDF and save it, or you can open up an email to yourself, copy all of this information from the title all the way down through the stable URL, and if there's a DOI, it'll be there as well. You can copy that, paste that into an email, and since you have the stable URL, it'll lead you back in, and you'll be able to get back to the article that way. You can just paste it into the email to yourself. Okay, that's 15 minutes. I'll I'll see you later.